So the session is about the Indian Public Library movement, right? So how many of you have heard about this movement? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a good number of people have not heard about this movement. And how many of you have attended IPLC, the Indian Public Library Conference? 3, 4, okay, even less number of people. And how many of you have interacted with IPLM in one way or the other? Okay, oh great. So it's a kind of a mixed group where many of us know something about IPLM, but we are likely to be aware of it a little more than what we know until now. So yesterday I mentioned that it could have been a possibility that until day before yesterday, you were a lone librarian sitting in your own libraries. But yesterday you discovered in this room that there are 21 other librarians or library innovators in a room, together with organizations and mentors who are working with you. Now, I also mentioned briefly that in the country, we are trying to start a movement of sorts. So the idea is to bring up a national level movement that focuses on public libraries, public librarians, public librarianship, and the public library stakeholders. So there has not been a movement in India until now. Although there have been associations, Indian Library Association, Special Library Association, Academic Library Association, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to public libraries at a national level, we haven't had one. We have had, for a long time now, from 71 onwards, what you call the Raja Ram Mohan Roy Library Foundation, which is an apex body of the Ministry of Culture, established to support public libraries in this country. And we have Mr. Bishwas representing the RRLF, and he is also one of the innovators with us. And some of you may have heard about Dr. Arun Kumar Chakrabarti, who is the Director General, and some others may have also known Dr. K.K. Banerjee, who for a long time has been the Director General of RRLF. And many of us have some other association with them, or with the Ministry of Culture, who is the which is the ministry that represents the public library portfolio in this country. And people like Ms. Sudha Mukherjee directly work with the Ministry of Culture. So before I get any further into discussing anything about IPLM, I wanted to give an opportunity for us to understand how a state level library movement could come up, or could have come up. Which is the most literate state in India? Huh? I'm not hearing. Andaman? Kerala? Mizoram? Kerala, okay. So, and which is the first digital district? District. Kerala is a state, right? Huh? District. Okay, so you figure it out. Probably somebody will say Calicut or Malappuram or whichever, right? So this land has seen transformation. And the reason for this transformation is a personality called Shri P.N. Panikkar. Shri P.N. Panikkar has been the stalwart who transformed this land from a illiterate land to a literate land. So if we are actually boasting many parliamentarians, many ministers, even the chief ministers, or even the president when he, in multiple speeches when he quotes Kerala, it's due thanks to Mr. P.N. Panikkar, and whose son is present with us. So give a big hand to Mr. Balagopal. And Also, Mr. P.N. Panikar's grandson is here, Manu Gopal. So it is such a pleasure for us to meet somebody who has worked in the footprints of his own father, who has transformed an entire state which stands out to be the most advanced state in the country with regard to any indicator. Look at maternal mortality, look at infant mortality, look at malnutrition, nutrition or malnutrition, whichever statistics you look at. Kerala is the best state in the country. And when it comes to malnutrition, the worst state could be Gujarat. The Prime Minister comes from that state, right? Gujarat has been identified by various surveys to be the worst ever state in a number of things. With money, of course, Gujarat is very forward because Gujaratis make a lot of money. Kerala don't make that kind of money. They are very service-oriented people who really love the nature, respect each other, who have a culture of, somebody was mentioning, I think the lady from Lakshadweep, who is a Malayali blood, she said, everyone is equal. What did you say? Everyone is equal, right? So that is the idea of Kerala, and that is the idea of literacy. There's no police station, right? So the idea of literacy, idea of libraries is in this country was initiated way back in 1940s when Shri P.N. Panikar undertook a walk across the state to gather librarians, to gather a movement to say that let us make Kerala let us spread literacy in Kerala. And I am sure Mr. Balagopal would tell us a lot in detail about it. But what is so exciting to me is that the journey that Shri P.N. Panikar has left behind for 100 and odd years, and we are going to celebrate his 109th anniversary on the 1st of March in Kerala. Mr. Balagopal being his son, but not just because he is the son of the great man, but also as somebody who is totally convinced that literacy and library movement have to grow, particularly in the digital arena. With ICTs, Mr. Balagopal represents the digital literacy and digital library movement of this country. So he is likely to talk to us and inspire us a little more about how a state level library movement had come up in a most advanced state like Kerala. Then I'll again say a few words about how we are envisaging the national level movement, taking the cue and strength from people like Mr. Balagopal. The fact that the librarians can make it happen. If India were to become a developed nation like Professor Abdul Kalam conceived to be a knowledge economy, I think it's in the hands of the intermediaries, the librarians of this country, those who sit between the knowledge seeker and knowledge provider, and that should be our motto. Traditionally, we have been practicing traditional librarianship. We have been lending books, we have been choosing books, making it available to people, but the world is changing from a book-centered approach to more of 24/7 real-time knowledge-based approach, which is something that we heard from Mr. Shivakumar yesterday when he was deliberating upon his own journey from innovator to mentor. So skill development, knowledge empowerment, knowledge dissemination is the need of the hour in a country like India, where there is enormous poverty, particularly in the rural areas, and also in urban ghettos, urban slums, there's enormous poverty. And I think as public librarians and innovators, we have an enormous task of playing that level playing field to empower the poorest of the poor. Thank you so much for that message that came out so well. And if tomorrow, as we move forward, it is likely to be that China and India are going to be the biggest powers. One is a democracy, the other one is not a democracy. India is going to be the youngest country of the world, as Nancy yesterday mentioned. We are going to have 300 million people within the age group, below the age group of 30, which is going to be a major dividend when China would have aged population. So India has to move forward from where it is to a situation where India would become the leader. United States is no longer a leader, as we all know, and they are actually undertaking protectionist measures with under Trump administration. So we have to move forward. We have to invent our own ways to excel as a secular democracy, which is something Professor Swaminathan emphasized some 4 days ago when he was invited by the Indo-American Council to give a lecture on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to commemorate the Martin Luther King Day. There are sane voices like Professor Swaminathan, Mr. Balagopal and others who are asking for secular democracy from a insane world that we are living in. There are extremists in this country who are also asking for making India identified with a particular secular ideology. But I think we have grown up in a secular democratic world, and librarians have a bigger task, bigger role to play in terms of providing that level playing field. So having heard how a state level library movement had come up, and for a population of 38 million people, you have 7,000 and odd libraries. Let's, I'm not really worried about whether all these libraries are functioning very well or not. Maybe there are a good number of these libraries that are not functioning well, but the idea that Sri P.N. Panikkar had, that every village should have a library, is a reality in a place like Kerala. But if you go to places like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, unfortunately there is no single person from UP nor from Bihar. But together, put together, Bihar and UP constitute 1/4 of the country. If we have 1.2 billion people, 300 million people reside in UP and Bihar alone. And if India has 80,000 libraries, which is a kind of a unofficial count, naturally one would think 20,000 libraries would be in Bihar and UP. Any guesses how many libraries are in UP and Bihar? Anybody can tell me? Quote a number. Huh? 400. Any other number? No, if you are not responding, then it is so boring. What we are telling you all is so boring for you. Huh? 50? 100. So I think she's correct, 100. So if 1/4 of the country were to have only 100 libraries, and whereas a tiny little state in Kerala, or even West Bengal, which is a large state, or Maharashtra, or Tamil Nadu, some of Karnataka, some of these states, Andhra Pradesh, would have the rest of the number of libraries. So put together, just these 6 states, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, constitute almost 50,000 libraries in this country. Whereas the rest of the nation has very limited. I'm not only talking about the numbers, the quality of services is equally important. It's more important than the numbers, but the situation is really grim in a country like India, where there are all sorts of anomalies. Now, I want to stop here and ask you a question. I'll skip some of the slides which I used for making a presentation to the IPLM Secretariat some times ago. But I want to ask you quickly, can anybody tell me what is IPLM? Indian Public Library Movement. Okay, Indian Public Library Movement. Anything more about IPLM?
To develop public libraries.
To develop public libraries. So anybody attended the IPLC? Anybody attended the IPLC?
It's a movement, but I am part of that movement. I have the responsibility to work for this movement.
So she says it's a movement and she's part of the movement, she has the responsibility. But anything more about IPLM? Any idea? Who attended the IPLC last time? You attended. You attended. You. Okay, you attended. So what did you hear about IPLM?
So transforming public libraries into vibrant and inclusive knowledge space.
Any other perspective? You also attended.
To develop public library in the modern age of era.
So, and you said you attended. So what do you know about IPLM?
It's actually a movement to renovate libraries, to introduce innovations so that we can reach out to the masses so that they can transform themselves into really useful entities for the public.
Okay. I think what we heard from all of them is one of the objectives of IPLM, which is repositioning, transforming, bringing technology and community-centeredness. All these are extremely important. But I want to ask you a question. Why do you need IPLM? We can do it individually. We are all aware. You are aware that technology is important. We need to reposition. We need to transform. We need to be community-centered. But do we still need a movement to do that? You can do it. 22 of you can do it in your own place. Okay, so some sort of coordination should be there. Anything else? Any other view? Why do we need IPLM? To increase the number of libraries. So, do you want more libraries in Kerala? The 7,000 is a big number. Wherever libraries are not there. National level. Okay, I hear the word pressure. So he says libraries come under state, and we need to create a pressure mechanism for better functioning. Okay, pressure. Okay.
A comprehensive approach is necessary for
comprehensive
approach.
A comprehensive approach.
I said a bigger vision is required to take the whole movement. We're working in silos at the moment, and we don't know what's happening. So that's something which can give a common vision and take all of us together.
So pressure, vision, comprehensiveness.
To make this movement vibrant and take it forward.
Make this movement vibrant and take it forward.
Distribution of knowledge.
Okay, I'll come back.
We need a movement to have a continuous change taking place with the time. We have to upgrade ourselves. Within time.
So I heard upgrade ourselves, which is building more capacity. I also heard that we need continuous change. We need to adapt to change. Platform to redefine public libraries. Any other view? Participation of the community. This table. Huh? Exchanging views and ideas. And that table. Building relationships. Oh gosh. Building relationships. Anything else? Capacity building of librarians. Somebody else was mentioning anything. To help states to do the legislation. And coordination between. I think you collective strength across the board. To develop a mechanism to nurture public libraries, not control but nurture, right? Okay. So, to bring about a platform. To make the people understand the importance of public libraries. You see? Undertake advocacy, everyone? Everyone's commitment. Geeta is so committed, right? So, it's so interesting. In the last 4 minutes, the first 40 seconds, we were only saying the substantive issues, transforming, changing, and all that. But when I quizzed you more, I heard about advocacy, I heard about coordination, I heard about platform, I heard about change, I heard about building capacity of people. So it looks like what I hear from you, there seems to be a need a larger need. Now, I think if I want to quickly run through in a nutshell the problem that we are facing in the public library, you said spread. You said in a place like Kerala there were more libraries. In places where there are not many number of libraries, we have to enhance. The spread is uneven in this country. As I mentioned, 50,000 libraries out of the 80,000 are in some 6 states, and the rest are, and most of these are not actually adequately funded by the government. Many of these are NGO run. When it comes to substance, we know that at this point in time it's newspapers and books, nothing more than that. And if we are lucky, we have some computers. If we are lucky, we have some rare books. If we are lucky, we would have some maps. But predominantly public librarianship revolves around these two elements. When it comes to system, there's no system. Mr. Biswas is sitting here. He doesn't know the number of libraries in this country. He's the computer man. He can press the button and tell us. He's the big data man, but he doesn't know the number of public libraries in this country, let alone whether these libraries have staff members, whether these libraries are adequately visited by people, whether these libraries have X number of books, X number of customers, where these are located. Nobody knows in this country. You go to Ministry of Education, they will tell you the number of schools in this country. You go to even the Ministry of Culture, they would at least tell you the number of museums. But when it comes to libraries, nobody has cared. At least at the state level, there is some data. But at the national level, there is no data, let alone a system. When I say a system would mean that if, like Mr. Balagopal mentioned, it should be people-centered, people-led. As a citizen of this country, as a taxpayer or a normal citizen, I have a right to select my books and see that book in my library. There's no system in place today. Where as a customer, as a user, I can go to somebody and ask for a particular copy or a particular book. In some places there is some system, but globally, as a nation, we don't seem to have a system. We don't have a monitoring system. We don't have a quality check system. And I'm telling you the basics, even the number of libraries nobody knows. The Minister of Culture cannot stand up and say a few words about public libraries in this country because there's no system in place. The strength, we are so weak. As public librarians today, we are so weak. Public library system is so weak. We are not adequately paid. We are not adequately supported. There is budget cut all the time. We are left alone to survive on our own. There's some money thrown at us and some books given to us, and we have to operationalize ourselves. There may be systems well functioning in some states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and so on. Even in Kerala, the system is not in any order. There is some law that provisions money to be transferred from the state to the Kerala Library Council, which distributes funds, and it is of no great help. 25,000 rupees grant to a public library for the entire year is a pathetic small amount. 1,200 rupees to a librarian is a small amount. You go to Bihar and UP, a librarian cannot spend 1 rupee on his own. He has to go and stand outside the door of the district inspector of schools or district education officer to pay the sweeper who is to be paid 50 rupees for sweeping the library. Such a pathetic state. We are so weak as a system. When it comes to service alignment, everyone has moved forward. We are stuck up with that book and newspaper. Newspaper also sometimes librarians spend from their own pocket because they want to please some of the readers who actually come and want to read that newspaper for donkey's years they've read in the library. To get, even to give chai to the customer, librarian spends from his own pocket today. So we are unable to move beyond taking advantage of all that Mr. Balagopal was mentioning, telemedicine or e-agriculture or skill development, career counseling, literary events, digital literary classes, None of these thoughts are in our hands at this point in time because the services is not aligned to the national priority at this point in time. When it comes to technology, out of the 80,000 libraries, maybe about 1,000 libraries have some computers. Maybe out of those 1,000 libraries, some 100 libraries have computers for the public. We just don't have any technology placed in our library system. Sustainability. You know, this is a big issue to look into. Now we can't sustain our staff. We can't even attract a good talent pool for the public librarianship. Even within the librarianship, people want to select academic librarianship, research librarianship, and school librarianship. Last place is the public librarianship people want to come to. How do we sustain this movement? Without enough money, without enough staff, without enough people walking into the libraries, and the methodology that Mr. Balagopal was mentioning earlier was reaching out to people. How do we reach out? How do we use social media? How do you use Web 2.0, 3.0 technologies to reach out to the customers? How do we actually be on the top of things? How do we know what our customers know? It's absolutely in shambles. Indian public library movement is a joke. And we have again and again mentioned to the Ministry of Culture that Raja Ram Mohan Rai Library Foundation has people who are very old. The members of the RRLF are very backward thinking people who only glorify themselves. 1970 में ये किया, 1980 में ये किया, अरे 2030 में क्या करोगे? Nobody wants to worry about it. There's no young blood. There's no young thinking. There's no vision. The reason you are here today, my dear friends, let's have all the fun, but let's go back with the responsibility. If you don't transform, you madam, you Mr. Biswas, Ms. Kaur, if you don't transform public libraries, nobody else will transform. A.K. Chakrabarti won't transform, I won't transform, Mr. Balagopal won't transform, Mr. Jayarajan won't transform, Mr. Vijay Kumar won't transform. It's you, it's you, it's you who will have to transform. If you don't transform, let's close shops and go back. Let's, one librarian spoke to me when I was the librarian of Indian Express. Times of India का librarian बोला, मैं मूंगफली बेचूंगा बीच में जाके, librarians काम नहीं करूंगा. I said, shame on you. I'm 20 years younger to you. Let's build up the system. So now today, the media is thriving on knowledge. It's 24/7. I'm talking about automation that I did in 1990 in Indian Express. At that time, Mr. Advanikar said, मैं मूंगफली बेचना जा रहा हूँ. Today, look at the entire media sector. It's all about 24/7. It's automated. It's synchronized. Every journalist in the finger of tip of his or her finger is able to access information. What's happening in Italy when Pope says something, we are able to tell. And if that reflects in a place like Malappuram, or if Osama bin Laden is in trouble and what is happening in another part of the country, we are able to really, it's all power of information. And we have a responsibility. And if we don't raise up, we don't tell, we don't question our authorities, nobody else would help us. हम लोग को खड़ा रहना पड़ेगा, खड़ा रह के पूछना पड़ेगा, क्या है, क्या दिक्कत है आप लोग को, हम काम करने के लिए तैयार है. So movement is very important. It's not just transformation, it's not just change. Platform is extremely important to voice. हमारा voice नहीं है तो क्या है? We are not actually going and playing chess or playing cards at our computer monitors when we go to work. We are serious librarians. We want to work for the community. We want to work for the customers. Okay, so having said that, now I also want to mention, maybe I will run through this and stop here. The idea is to generate a movement. The idea is to make us collective. The idea is to stand up. There are so many movements that have come up by standing up, merely standing up. Stand up against poverty, stand up against untouchability, stand up against the British Raj. Let's stand up. As librarians, if we don't stand up, our children won't become librarians. Your father was a librarian, right? You have become librarian because you are inspired. But your child won't become librarian if we don't stand up today. We need to feed passion. We need to have that passion with that anger. हम लोग को गुस्सा नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं होगा. Passion, गुस्सा दोनों होना चाहिए. That's how movements move on. We need to act. We need to unite like-minded people. इसी room में अगर if there is anybody who does not have passion, who does not have anger, who is not aligned to the idea of growing public librarianship, I think that person would naturally move away from this movement. But in order to be a part of this movement, we need to have that anger, passion, and the same vision and like-mindedness. We need to have shared values. We need to see change. If we don't see change, there's no point. When it comes to actors, we are the ones who are going to engineer the change. Again, as I told you, it's not the 70 plus people who are sitting as the board members of RRLF or the Ministry of Culture, that committee member, this committee member. कोई किसी को glorify करते हैं अपने आप. 1980s में मैंने फलाना फलाना किया. That's all they say. Nothing more than that. 2030 में library क्या होगा? अच्छा, ऐसा भी है. Library अभी भी चल रहा है. These are the people who are representing you and me in those committees. We need to generate a climate, enhance the appetite and energy for this movement to grow forward. You know, at his age, Mr. Balagopal is actually creating that appetite amongst all those people that he works with. We need to ensure that there is a result. The result is change in public perception. जाके पूछिएगा library, 80,000 libraries in this country, but nobody knows where these libraries are. Go and ask the public, लाइब्रेरी में क्या है? होगा कुछ किताब होगा, कुछ पढ़ाई लोग जाते होंगे, बस उतना ही है. We have to change the perception of people. We need to actually change the policy. Somebody mentioned in this room, we need to change the legislation and policy. अरे पैसा नहीं है, budget provision नहीं है, क्या policy है? शर्म आना चाहिए जो भी वो policy पास किया. हम लोग का खड़ा रह के बताना पड़ेगा. You created a public policy without any financial provision in it. And how shameless you are to look for public's mercy that librarians should function. At the mercy of the district education officer, एक रुपया के लिए signature के लिए 10 आधा घंटा खड़ा रहना पड़ता librarian को. We have to change the policy, we have to change the practice, we have to change the culture in this country. It may be very good functioning in certain states, but go to many states, the situation is really, really pathetic. Finally, when it comes to the whole thing, there will be persecution. हमको कमेटी में नहीं डालेंगे, persecution है, ये बोलता है ज़्यादा. कोई बात नहीं. कमेटी में बैठ के एक दो कैशू नट खा के एक चाय पीने के लिए हमारा समय नहीं है. हमारा समय उधर पीएन पनिकर जैसी सारी वॉक किए थे. The entire Kerala he treaded. He didn't sit in a committee room and drank chai and have few cashew nuts. वही होता है maximum committee room में. Let us move around. Let us move around and generate something. There will be reaction, there will be resistance, persecution. हम लोग को समझ लेंगे ये लोग तो पागल लोग हैं. अपना नौकरी कर अपना retirement benefit लेकर he should retire. इन लोग को कुछ काम नहीं है ऐसे बोलेंगे. But we need to stand up. My dear friends, the 22 of you have a bigger responsibility. You are going to transform. You are going to change the public libraries. I don't want to go into details. This I philosophized to the IPLM secretariat people who did not understand what a movement was all about. Movement is all about decentralization. Movement is not about centralization. Gandhi ji centralized nahi kiya power ko. He enabled everyone to be the soldier. So I want to stop here and say that the Indian Public Library movement is not NASCOM Foundation. It's not even MSSRF. It's not even the organizations. It's you, the librarians. Nancy, P.N. Panika Foundation, MSSRF, people like me, Dr. Vijay Kumar, all of us are here to support you. हम लोग आपको servants है, आप हमारा master है. You understand the reality. You are the masters. We are not even equals, madam. We are your servants. मैं आपका नौकर हूँ. आपका जो भी आगे जाना है, we will help you. We will support you. आपको जो भी तकलीफ है, we will come with you. But the 22 of you, from today, the second day of you coming together, वादा लीजिए. Take a pledge. You are the future of Indian Public Library movement. All of us will work for you and strengthen you if you need us. And if you all that you said in this room is a reality, advocacy, policy, more financial power, transformation, change, community-centeredness, technology, platform, commitment, participation, if all are meaningful words, people like you lead the show, people like Mr. Balagopal, myself and others are your servants. Thank you.